Let's just completely shatter the illusion right out of the gate. Choosing an AI subscription today is not about finding the smartest model anymore. If you're trying to pick a plan right now, you're facing a problem that literally didn't even exist 2 years ago. Back then, it was just a raw intelligence test. But today, the three major flagships, ChatGPT Plus, Claude Pro, and Gemini Advanced, are practically tied. I mean, in a blind test on basic tasks, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell them apart. It's essentially a dead heat. And that brings us to the magic number, $20. It feels like the standard, totally acceptable monthly entry fee for access to cutting-edge tech from any of these big three. But, after a full year of intense testing, pushing these models to their absolute breaking points with coding, writing, and image generation, and spending over $720 in the process, a pretty startling reality emerges about what that $20 bill actually buys you. Because the models are fundamentally tied in basic intelligence, the real question you need to be asking yourself isn't which one is smarter. It's this. What are you paying for but never using? In this explainer, we're going to expose the hidden traps of these platforms. The whole goal here is to help you stop wasting your hard-earned cash on flashy features you just don't need, and to find the tool that actually fits the way you work. So let's jump straight into our first trap, the golden cage of images. For a long time, everybody just agreed that ChatGPT made the best images. But by late 2024, Google's Gemini caught up so incredibly well that you practically need a magnifying glass to see the difference. They're both absolutely top tier. But then there's Claude. Claude simply cannot draw, period. Zero image generation capabilities, not a single pixel. And honestly, it is so easy to fall into a psychological trap here and assume Claude is somehow a lesser, weaker product just because it lacks this one feature. But assuming Claude is worse because it can't draw is exactly what we call the golden cage effect. You're dazzled by a flashy, beautiful feature like spitting out amazing AI art, and you let it dictate your entire purchase. Sure, it looks absolutely fantastic in a product review or a YouTube preview, but think about it. If your actual everyday job involves writing text, analyzing complex documents, or coding, the real-world value of image generation to you is exactly zero. You're locking yourself in a golden cage. You're paying for something you might use twice a year just to make a funny meme, while completely ignoring the core tools you actually need for your daily grind. You really have to evaluate your own workflow truthfully. Ask yourself right now, what do you actually do every day? Because if you're writing emails, drafting scripts, posting online, or analyzing data, you just can't let those shiny image generators distract you. And that brings us to a massive, super frustrating contradiction for anyone whose daily work actually revolves around words. The crucial point here is that being the best at generating text doesn't actually make a platform the best place to work with that text. Let's look at trap number 2, best writer, worst editor. If you go out and ask professional writers which model produces the absolute best text, Claude is the almost unanimous choice. And the reason is its style. Claude writes with this natural, flowing, human-like cadence. It completely avoids those robotic cliches and that awful, excessive pompousness you get with other AIs. It genuinely sounds like a living, breathing person. There's even a brilliant feature where you can upload your own past writing, and it will perfectly mimic your unique voice. So, case closed, right? Just use Claude for writing? Well, not quite. Here is the catch. Claude writes beautifully, yes, but when it comes time to actually edit that beautiful text, it is infuriating. It completely forces you through a maddening, clunky chat interface. You're manually selecting text, asking it to rewrite specific chunks. It's incredibly inconvenient, and you end up in an endless loop just to make minor tweaks. Meanwhile, Gemini hands you a fully functional text editor. We're talking formatting, bulleted lists, a proper, clean canvas to actually do your work. ChatGPT kind of sits somewhere in the middle. But the paradox is wild. The model that generates the very best text gives you the absolute worst desk to actually sit down and work on it. Okay, now we hit the wall that breaks absolutely everyone's workflow. Because while that $20 price tag is identical across the board, how quickly you run out of the powerful model you're actually paying for varies wildly. This is trap number 3, the hidden limit tax. When you really start pushing these models hard, their limitations become incredibly obvious. ChatGPT is by far the most honest. It gives you a strict message limit and a very clear reset timer. You hit a hard wall, sure, but you know exactly where that wall is, which means you can plan your workday.
Claude is a bit tricky. It uses this complex system of session and weekly limits with pretty long reset windows. Under intense work, Claude exhausts the fastest. You'll be right in the middle of a complex task and bam, you're timed out for an hour. But Gemini? Gemini does something incredibly deceptive. It's literally like this. You think you're talking to a genius, but you're actually speaking to his intern. Gemini never stops you. It never throws up a wall, never shows you a timer. Instead, when you hit your hidden limit, it secretly and silently switches you over to a less capable junior model. You keep typing, it keeps answering, everything looks totally fine on the surface. But you've crossed an invisible boundary. And this is critical, guys, because it means you are paying premium prices for a flagship model, but you might be doing half of your actual work with a cheaper, less capable AI without even realizing it.
Let's shift gears away from the traps and limitations for a second and talk about the single, most powerful capability that actually justifies handing over $20 a month. The true killer feature. Look, while everyone else is out there arguing over who makes the prettiest pictures or complaining about message limits, the real war in AI is being fought over agents. We aren't just talking about chatbots that answer trivia questions anymore. These are tools that actively work on your behalf. They can rummage through your computer's files, analyze heavy data, and complete complex multi-step tasks totally automatically, while you literally step away to take a coffee break. And this is exactly where Claude suddenly pulls far, far ahead of the pack. Claude's agent application actually gives it direct access to your local files. Even better, it features a clear, distinct toggle between a standard chat mode and its active agent mode. Now, that might sound like a minor detail, but it is massive. It means your tasks don't get mixed into a messy jumble, and the AI's memory doesn't get polluted with unrelated chatting. Combine that with its mature integrations that let it connect with thousands of other apps, and suddenly you aren't just renting a talking head, you're basically hiring a digital employee. So how do the others stack up here? Well, Gemini's true cloud agent power isn't even included in that standard $20 tier we've been talking about. If you want to step outside the basic Google ecosystem, its real automated power is locked behind a significantly more expensive paywall. And while ChatGPT does have some agent-like capabilities, it completely lacks that clean interface separation that Claude has. So when you give it complex, multi-step processes, it gets confused and tangled up in the chat window super easily. All right, we've navigated the traps and we've identified the killer feature. Let's get down to finding your perfect match. After a year of grueling testing, here is the absolutely honest picture. There is no single winner. It is entirely about matching the tool to how you work. If you write text, analyze deep documents, or want an AI agent to actually automate your workflow, your perfect match is Claude. Yes, the trade-off is tough limits and zero images, but the intelligence is completely worth it. If you need a bit of everything, a true all-arounder that can write, code, and generate great images with totally honest limits, ChatGPT is your master of all trades. And if you live your entire digital life inside Google Drive and Docs, Gemini Advanced offers fantastic ecosystem perks. Just beware of that silent downgrade to the intern. So we arrive at our final question for you today. Take a hard, honest look at your current AI subscription. Are you falling for the golden cage? Are you paying $20 a month for flashy features you literally never use while missing out on the tools that could actually transform your daily workflow? Leave a comment below with which AI you're currently paying for and let me know. Are you truly getting what you pay for? Or is it time to switch your digital employee?